Good evening, Internet. This is my vlog number 4. Tonight I'm going to talk about why we chose to adopt. My wife and I have been talking about adoption and kind of kicking the idea around since we had our second son. We've got 2 boys. They're 4 and 2. And I think shortly after Nathan, our 2-year-old, was born, my wife brought up the fact that she really didn't feel like our family was complete. But I think both of us were done having kids biologically, so we decided to just kind of talk about adoption. And at the time we said, you know what, let's just table it for a minute. So we kind of tabled things in 6-month increments. So initially we talked about it, we prayed about it, and we said, nah, we're not ready. Let's touch on it again in 6 months. So we did that, and that happened about 3 times. And then after a year and a half, which was right around Christmas time, randomly one evening after church, Samantha, we had driven separate cars, and she said, hey, let's talk. And you know, being a married guy, normally that's not the best thing to hear. So we sat down in her car, and she said, hey, I'm ready to start this adoption process. And I kind of sat for a second. A peaceful feeling came over me, and I said, me too. So from there, we got started. Sorry about the rocking. My dog's pushing me around in my lounger. So we decided to move on it. What we did was we met with 2 different couples. One that it's adopted domestically, and they had 2 biological children and 2 adopted children. And then another that had done 4 international adoptions, and they had 2 biological children as well. So they're similar to us from a biological child standpoint, but in a completely different season. They were done adopting, and we wanted to just sit down with them, pick their brains, and see why they did what they did, and help us make a decision. So after both those dinners, we decided that doing the international route was the best fit for us. We looked at both extensively and just decided that doing the international thing just made more sense for the season we were in, and we just felt more comfortable with that. Even though I'm not a big traveler, we just decided that this was the best option. So literally, I would say the first week in January, we reached out to a agency that our friends had recommended and got our application in and got the ball rolling. And so that's been right at 7 months now that we've been in this process. And initially we were actually adopting from China, and then about 2 months ago we got a phone call from a friend of a friend telling us about a Japanese program through an organization called Faith International. And it just worked out that they had literally cleared their list. Normally it was an average of a 2-year wait to adopt from Japan, and our paperwork was at a point where we could just move it right over and literally go from probably another 10 to 12 month wait in China to any day now status in Japan. So we were really excited about that opportunity, and we're able to move our paperwork over and kind of change agencies halfway, but everybody's been super supportive. And now that's how we ended up in Japan. It's a very small program. Only, I think they said 60 something kids came over last year from it. So it's a pretty neat opportunity and a cool program to be part of. So that's kind of why we chose. We really just felt called to do it. We wanted to grow our family, and we know there's a need out there for adoption. And I kind of look at it like this: there's a huge need, and we can help with that. And we've got an extra bedroom, and we've got room in our little family, so we wanted to add another child, and this just made the most sense to us. So that's why we're adopting. It's not a crazy dramatic story. We just wanted to grow our family and felt like this was the way we were being called to do that. So we're really excited. We've had just a massive amount of support from our friends and our family and total strangers. And speaking of support, that kind of leads us into fundraising. And I think most folks know adoption is not cheap by any means. And so we did a pretty massive fundraising effort. And I was shocked and blown away. So we'll talk about that on our next vlog on the type of fundraising we did. And I'll be kind of get down to the nitty gritty on the numbers and just kind of give you some general ideas as to what we were able to accomplish. So it changed my whole perspective on everything. It was pretty amazing. So anyway, that's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.